it's one thing to be a good speaker, but it is another thing to be a well-rounded communicator. To the sixth speaker of the evening, which will be our guest, RJ. And RJ will be evaluated by Toastmaster Aaron.
Okay, thank you very much, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, it's my pleasure to be listening to a CC8 project. What that mean by CC8? It means that really get comfortable with visual aids. So I'll be expecting a lot of visual aids, expecting clarity, and also making sure that those aids really enhance the speaker in his speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Our next speaker is Toastmaster Ranjit with one way to conduct a speech evaluation. One way to conduct a speech evaluation, Toastmaster RJ.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm going to show you how I conduct my speech evaluations. And this technique is a combination and an extension of techniques I've learned from a few people, including a couple of my Toastmasters mentors, Tim Wilson and Bill Russell, plus a former world champion of public speaking, Pres Vasilev, in a keynote address that I saw him do. So I took all these techniques and I've kind of extended them into the way I conduct speech evaluations. So my technique involves using a blank sheet of paper, okay? So I take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and then I draw lines on it that look like this. I divide my paper into 3 sections. I draw first a horizontal line about 3/4 down the page all the way across, and then I draw a vertical line from the top down to that horizontal line. I put headings on the top 2 sections here. This heading is a plus, and this heading is an OFI. So plus means positive things about the speech. Okay, so that's the section where you're going to sit and as the speaker is speaking, you're going to jot down positive notes about the speech. OFI stands for opportunities for improvement. So in that section, you are going to jot down any opportunities you see for improvement. This bottom section is where you are going to jot down any notes about the speech's overall positive impact on you. That's how you're going to close your evaluation speech. Instead of closing the speech by giving a summary of everything you've already said, I like to close my evaluation speech by offering how the speech positively impacted me. So now let's get to what you're actually going to do during the speech. So now you're sitting watching the speech that you are going to evaluate. As you're watching this speech, you write down your notes, positives, opportunities for improvement, in this sheet. Okay. Now, if I gave some examples from a hypothetical speech. So I wrote here for positive, I wrote opening joke, okay, about screwdrivers, right? This is just made up from the hypothetical speech. And then I wrote an arrow and said humor. We'll get to why that's important later. I wrote here, whispered about the butterfly, vocal variety. Someone whispered about the butterfly in their speech, and I liked that because it was vocal variety. Okay, so here's the kind of pattern to the way I'm taking notes. I'm jotting down a specific thing that I liked, and then I'm kind of putting it into a general category. This is important because later on in the meeting, when I'm going to give my speech evaluation, what I'm going to say is, I liked your use of humor. For example, your opening joke about screwdrivers really hit. So I'm going to give a general thing that I liked and then give the example. But when I'm taking the notes, they don't occur to me in that order. The specific thing hits me first. That's why I write it. And then the generality follows. But in the evaluation speech, I'm going to do it the other way. Humor, that's why I drew an arrow there. I liked your use of humor. For example, the opening joke. So that's how I'm going to put all my notes. Now, when it comes time to actually formulate your speech, you're not necessarily going to say all the things you have on the plus side and all the OFIs, opportunities for improvement. What I do is, in order to keep the tone of my evaluation speech positive, I follow a formula, which is the number of pluses I'm going to comment on has to be greater than or equal to the number of opportunities for improvement. So for example, I might choose 2 pluses and 1 opportunity for improvement for my evaluation speech, or maybe 2 and 2, but I'm never gonna go 1 and 3, okay? Because I wanna keep the overall tenor of my evaluation positive. And then finally, I'm gonna close with a note in my speech, my evaluation speech, about the positive impact of the speech on me. Thank you all. It has been a pleasure sharing with you the way I conduct my speech evaluations. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Let's all thank RJ for sharing from his experience. Help me welcome Aaron, evaluating RJ's speech.
Life is just like a mystery whereby you have to prepare for the most finest occasions. Look at RJ. Look at that visual aid that he has a board. He just utilized a board out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that. That visual aid actually fulfills that objective of really letting us see what he is going to talk about evaluation about. So for me, I just do something different. I just put a thumb, you know, the kind of thumb, you can see some letters on there. Oh, it's a bit blurry. My camera needs to be fixed. So there's a tick sign and then my tick cross sign, because that actually just fits the right time, because I just gave my evaluation workshop for the division yesterday. But it was like a very nice recap. Look at what we can learn from RJ. We can learn from the positive things, the tick sign, and also the points for improvement. We look at, wow, he turns the words into very nice phrases. Opportunities for improvement. Look at the difference of using the right words. So in this objective itself, I can see that he has actually did a really good job in really preparing that effective 2A. And then he can see us the list of items and itineraries, because he compares one empty board and one with a nice board with different letters on there. So it illustrates the difference of what happens before and what happens after that, so that is a nice guide. So in conclusion for that part is really good in terms of the overall speeches itself. Now, obviously I'm going to do it a different way, because you said 1 point for improvements and it's not that good if you put 3 negative points. But since you're at CC8, I'm going to challenge even more. First thing first, in this objective itself, we requires 2 visual aids, so I only see 1 type, which is the board. So I would definitely love to see another one, which is that you can do a demonstration and also letting us see how the evaluation board really works, instead of just giving us a fixed answer. To make it even better, I would have prepared 1 simple board with all the answers covered up, and then I reveal each answers one at a time. That way you can actually let us feel that, oh, the first point that I may be doing well is that I might start off with a joke. So that might be a good point that I would like to evaluate on that. And the second point, like, look at my second point, composure. You have to be very stable. So those are composure. Now you talk about 2 points and then 2 points of improvement, and then you just need to highlight that. That will actually exemplify your visual aid to the next level, because the visual aid is not your spotlight. The visual aid is just to enhance and impact you. So I would definitely suggest that before you even begin the speech itself, think about, visualize how you're going to present that speech. In conclusion, overall great speech, your objective, fulfill the objectives. Big round of applause. Back to you.
Thank you, Aaron, for sharing from your experience. I was quick to take notes. I'm glad there will be a video, because I didn't get to write everything down, because from your experience you shared so much input that I believe concerns all of us, especially the part about do not put your visual aid in the spotlight, but your message should be in the spotlight. That resonated with me deeply.